Oh, I'm such an idiot. Why did I have to wander off like that? Where am I? I hate being lost. I don't even know how you could get yourself lost like this. I don't even recognize anything around me. Is anybody out there? Anybody? What's going to happen if I can't find my way home? I don't want to have to sleep out in the forest. It's scary at night. Oh, what am I going to do if I can't get home? I feel totally lost. Wait a minute. Don't I have a map? Oh, I'm saved. Now, where am I? Oh, wait a minute. That's embarrassing. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Minecraft The Journey with me, bugmancx. We're in Minecraft Beta 1.6 Test Build 3, the test build that Notch created that was never supposed to be publicly released and was only discovered many years later in 2014 by a very astute Minecrafter who managed to discover the original download URL for this test version. And this test version we had a look at in the last episode. This test version produces a chest with every block and item in the game. Well, not every single item, but every base item. It doesn't include items with different variations, but it's practically every item and block within the game, including some very unusual blocks that you wouldn't normally be able to find, like the furnace in a lit state and the furnace in an unlit state, and redstone dust as an item in a chest, redstone dust placed on the ground as an item in the chest, and all sorts of other weird craziness like that. We looked at this in a temporary world, but it's my understanding that I should also be able to trick the game into placing these chests into my existing world here. Now, what would normally happen is I would create a new world, and when that new world gets generated, the game would then, at its very final stages, add in all of the chests full of all of the items. So, in other words, it generates all of the chunks first, and then it overlays all of the chests on top of the existing terrain. So all I need to do is delete my level.dat file and create a new world called the same as this one. And what that should do is force Minecraft to create a brand new world on a random seed, but it will use the existing chunks that we've already generated. And I should be able to put all of those chests, or have all of those chests appear in our spawn area. And I'm willing to give this a try. I know it's a little bit cheaty and a little bit hacky, and I won't really use any of the items in those chests, but I think it would be fun to have them in the world just as something to look at, go back and check on every now and then. So I'm going to prepare myself, and we're going to do just that. I've come out to the file system because I thought this is something that we could do together. The instructions for how to do this are documented on the Minecraft Discontinued wiki, and I've put a link to that in the description below. I also want to say thank you to Marpace, who commented on my last episode pointing me at these instructions, so thank you very much for that. Go and check out their YouTube channel. The link to that is also in the description below, and say hello from me, and subscribe, of course, and all of that stuff. Now here we are in my Betacraft Journey Saves Journey directory. This is my actual Minecraft world here, and we have our level.dat and a backup of the level.dat file, which the game automatically makes on its own. So what we're going to do is create a directory here called back, just to back up these files. Well, we're going to put this one in here because we don't really care about this one. Let's delete it entirely. Now, if we head back into Minecraft, we should be able to create a brand new world. Okay, here we are. So if I go into single player, normally I would see my world here, but the reason that I don't is because I deleted its master level.dat file. So what I need to do is create a new world, and we'll call it Journey, because this should make it save in the directory called Journey, which is exactly where the existing chunk files are. Now, I've already made another backup of my world, so don't worry, I won't destroy anything. I can always restore from that. But let me do create new world and see what happens. Oh, okay. Not even sure exactly where we are. This doesn't look like my world. It is my world. Look at this. Okay, we are up here. This is the original alpha chunks. There's the chunk wall. Wow, this is incredible. Okay, So if I go up here, now there's no worry of me generating new chunks. I am on a world with a different seed and different stats and different player inventory, and I need to fix that in a moment. But there's no chance of me generating new chunks because all of this has already been pre-generated. But look at this. This is my alpha world. What I need to do now is close out of Minecraft. I'm going to quit. I'm actually going to quit the game entirely. And here we are back in the world. Here's the level.dat file that was generated when we created this new world. So I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. I'm going to delete that one too because I don't want it. And we will restore our level.dat file and put it back in the main journey save folder. Now, if I relaunch Minecraft, here I've got the Betacraft launcher up. And then if I hit play and load Minecraft properly, there it is. And if we go into single player, into the world, I'm back with my original inventory, my original statistics, everything like that. So if I head back to those original InfDev chunks right now, we should find all of those chests. And we're now right back where we started, sort of. Here they are though, all of the chests. Now I haven't opened any of these, but if we peek inside, just as we expected, we have got a stack of every one of these amazingly cool blocks. I'm very excited about this because up until this point, I really only thought I was able to explore that in a brand new world. But I'm really happy that we're able to have this here in this world and explore it this way. Unfortunately, it's on this weird downhill slope because what I want to do is preserve all of these chests and build a platform underneath them. The reason that they've appeared here is because when you generate a new world, you now seem to get coordinates that are not starting at 0, 0. So you can see up here, I'm at x36, z175. So that means that this is actually the world spawn of the other world in the level.dat file that we deleted. Whereas my world spawn is now somewhere over there because somehow it randomly changed. Anyway, I digress. We have these amazingly cool boxes now full of amazingly awesome things. I need to build a platform so that we can preserve it. So I've got some materials here and I'm just going to get started. I'm going to leave them in their original pattern here and build a platform. Well, I certainly won't be winning any design awards for this little area, but I did want to make it just look a little bit more tidy and be a little bit more accessible. So what I've done is I've dug out this part of the hill here and replaced the ground with these planks here to make it look all nice. And I've moved some of the chests down, which you might remember were previously staggering up the mountain like this. Now they're all down here on the same Y level, and that just makes it easier to move between the different chests and have a look at the contents like that. Over here we have some signs explaining what this area is. So let's have a quick look at this. It says Beta 1.6 Test Build 3, episodes 91 and 92. These chests were added after a new world is generated for these special test builds only. They remain here preserved for historical reference. These were generated by temporarily deleting level.dat but retaining the existing world's region files. This tricked the game into thinking it was a fresh world. And that, as you saw, is exactly how we got these chests. So I've hooked it up to the Nether as well to make it a little bit easier to get to and to get back from, because at the moment it's not hooked up to anything else. I might actually extend this path out here and connect it up to this boardwalk over here, but I'll do that in the future because I just ran out of materials for doing it right now. So we'll get to that a bit later on. For the main part of today's episode, I would like to have a look at the new map which was added to Minecraft Beta 1.6. But because we're in Minecraft Beta 1.6 Test Build 3, a build of the game that was not really intended to be played by players, I think it's appropriate that we upgrade ourselves to the proper public Beta 1.6 release, and then we'll take it from there. So here we are, Minecraft Beta 1.6 proper. Notch had indicated that Beta 1.6 was going to focus mostly on bug fixes, with only one major new feature added, the mapping system. But before we start playing around with the maps ourselves, as usual, I want to take a look at the information that had come out about the maps prior to the launch of Beta 1.6. Notch posted on his blog about how they were expected to work. When you craft a map, you'll be able to somehow select how zoomed in you want the map to be. It'll be centered on the location where you craft it, and it will fill in as you explore the land. If you go outside the edges of the map, it will stop updating, so each map is of a specific area, like real maps. Notch's post shows two pictures, one of a map that's fully zoomed in and another where the map is fully zoomed out. He goes on to say, if you drop a map and someone else picks it up, they'll be able to see your progress. You'll also be able to, somehow, clone maps so that two separate map items link to the same map data. That means that you can see what other players carrying the same map explores, and both you and them will show up as blinking dots or similar on the maps. Notch also shows us some images showing how the map is held and looked at in the game, explaining, currently the map will only update if you're holding it in your hands, but the map will kind of hide away when you're looking straight forward. To see the map properly, you have to look down thisly. He also says that any changes you make to the terrain will show up on the maps, but only once someone carrying the map gets near that area. In other words, you won't magically get to see changes far away on the map. Finally, Notch explains a couple of the technical aspects, which I find interesting to look back at because you can see the types of feature ideas going through his head, some of which made it into the game and some that didn't. At the moment, the map doesn't work at all in multiplayer, but that's my next task. The code I write to support that will also be possible to reuse in the future for things like books and notes written by the players, and possibly even custom paintings or hand-drawn signs. One other interesting point is a tweet from Notch saying, being able to place maps on walls would be cool, but I'll try to solve it. Okay, so that was a lot of info, so let's sum up the important points we've learned about how the maps are intended to work. And keep in mind that this was all from Notch's blog, released before Beta 1.6 actually came out, so we'll see how many of these things actually work when we try it for ourselves. Number 1. It's supposed to be possible to create maps at different levels of zoom. Number 2. The center of the map is the place where you crafted the map. Number 3. Maps update if you hold them in your hands and move around. Okay. So let's try this out and take a look for ourselves. Now let me tell you something. Notch was not very clear about how to make a map in his blog notes at all, but luckily I know how to do it. If we head on over here to the crafting table, I have in my inventory some iron, and what we are going to do with that, whoops, I've misplaced that, is we are going to create a compass. And if we surround the compass in paper just like so, we should get ourselves a map. Now remember what the notes in Notch's blog said. It said that as soon as we craft the map, that is where the map will originate. So we're right here in the middle of the house, and I think that is the perfect location for us to create the map. I wonder what this means. So this map that I have hovering around my inventory at the moment must have some data inside of it, including the coordinates of where we are. So as soon as I put it into my hand, and I want to put it into the hand that is currently selected on the hotbar so we can see exactly what's happening when I put it down. Let's have a look. Just like that, we saw the map draw itself immediately, and it looks like, this way is north. So this is something that we discovered when the maps were added to the game. We discovered that what we thought was previously east, north, west, and south is actually not that at all. Let's go down here and we'll see if we can figure out what is happening. Okay, the sky is right above our heads, which isn't very helpful, but as we know, probably by now you've seen it many, many times, the sun rises from over here, and then it goes across the sky, and eventually it sets in the west. And, well, that's what I thought was the west, but no, that is not the case at all. Let's have a look at the map and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so I'm aligning myself. It looks like the little icon on the map is also pointing slightly off in the wrong direction because this is definitely not dead ahead, is it? Isn't that weird? Minecraft bugs. Okay, but we are facing this direction on the map, and as we can see, that's where north should be. So technically what that means is that north is where the sun rises. The sun rises in the north and sets in the south. Weird. Okay, we'll have to get used to that. And this is actually being confirmed by Notch and the developers. I'll show you a tweet confirming it. Weird, right? Who ever expected that the sun would rise in the north? And there we have it. It's now official. North east, south, west. Now we'll never get lost. Well, what else can we learn about this map? Well, just by looking at it, we can see that the game has designated this map as map_0. Up in the top left-hand corner, it's added some text there to help us identify, I guess, which map is which. And computers always start counting from 0 and humans start counting from 1. And that is why the first map in the game is always going to be map 0. This is also the first time that I've ever seen text overlaid on top of the map like that. And I'm not sure how long it'll last in the game, but I guess it is helpful to help us figure out which map is which as we're playing the game and handling multiple maps. Now, one of the other interesting and weird things that I noticed while I was handling the map is that if I click the mouse, I mean, normally my arm punches the air like this, but if I'm holding the map, it does the same thing, but it kind of pushes the map off to the left like that. And if you look really closely, you can see that the map is it looks like it's spinning, but it's not. It's actually just moving to the left and then back again. And this is best illustrated if I look straight down at the map here. Notice how I'm holding the map with both of my hands. And this is the first time we've actually seen my left arm in this first person view before, because before this, I've always been right hand dominated and that's all you ever get to see on screen. Now with the map, of course, we have two hands. But look what happens when I punch towards the ground. Look at the map. You can see the full spin animation, but like I said before, it's not really spinning the full way round. It's spinning to the left slightly and then spinning back again. It looks a little bit like I'm spinning a pizza dough. That's what I thought it looked like at first, but it's not actually a full rotation of the map. But it does look really weird. I like it. It's fun. I might have to keep doing that as I'm handling the maps just because I feel like an Italian pizza master. Oh, what I wouldn't give for an elytra right now. Have a look at this. We must have a frozen ice biome right here. I apologize for the nighttime, but I just noticed this as I came over the hill. But look at this. This ocean just started freezing before my eyes. And if I stand here and watch it, we should see more and more ice beginning to form. So this is the first time that I've been over this way for quite a while. And so this was such an unexpected surprise, I suppose. I'll have to come back and investigate this a little bit more in the future. But for now, I've got a lot more mapping to do. Round about an hour later, and look where we are. We have finished filling this map from top to bottom, but check out exactly where we are. Over there, that is the art gallery, and over there is the Alpha House, and these two things are only just off the edge of the map. Unfortunately, I suppose they weren't able to be included on this map, but I was quite surprised at how far this map actually reached. I trekked all the way across the land and across the seas from the beta area over there all the way back here. But let's bring up a full copy of the map and see if we can identify any interesting landmarks. So if we take a close look at this map, of course in the center here we have the beta area lake because that's where we crafted the map when we started this mapping exercise. And if we zoom into that a little bit, now obviously you can't do this in game at the moment, so I've zoomed in the video, but it gives us a better view of what's going on close up. So here we can see the town square at the top, and going around we've got the village, we've got my house, we've got the docks on the other side, we've also got the log factory, the brick factory, and then over there on the right, we have the music disc farm. Zooming out again, we should be able to see a few more features on this map. Although it's not all obvious at first, there are some terrain boundaries showing up here, and it's not easy to tell the exact boundaries in a lot of cases, unless there's something like a sheer chunk wall, and even that doesn't show up very well on this map. But I've done my best to work it out based on wandering around the area and from memory. First, inside the yellow box in the corner is the original InfDev chunks from when I first generated this world. There were a lot of terrain changes during InfDev that we explored at the time, but those were off in the other direction, so they don't show up on this map. But during late InfDev, we generated all of this area to the left of the cyan line, and this area is full of those original trees with really short trunks, which was actually a bug that got fixed in late InfDev. To the right of all of this, and in most of this left middle section, is the late infdev / early alpha terrain. And to the right hand side of the red line here is the current terrain, generated after alpha 1.2.0, and where we've spent most of our time since upgrading to beta. And although this terrain was technically generated during late alpha, I just refer to it as beta terrain for simplicity. Notice how there are some very sharp corners here too, and these were some of the first areas we generated when we were originally heading out to explore the new biomes in alpha 1.2.0. Also on this map, this island here is Portal Island, but as you can see the obsidian doesn't show up for some reason, so it's really hard to tell on your maps where any nether portals are at the moment. So that's our very first map. I'm really excited to have this, and I'll need to keep it somewhere safe. And it'll be interesting to see if it changes in the future. And I don't just mean because we'll be building things on the terrain. I mean the way the game code handles the maps is going to change in the future, so it'll be interesting to see if that affects this map in any way. I think for now we're going to put away our very first ever created map safe and sound in this treasure chest up here in my bedroom, where we can keep it safe and keep an eye on it and see what happens to it in future versions. In the meantime, I've got a couple of other mapping experiments that I want to do before we wrap up today's episode. And the first experiment involves us visiting this place, the noisy Nether, with all of these Nether portals. Perhaps I should have chosen somewhere a little bit more quiet, but we're here now, so this'll do. Now, as we know, if I create a compass in the Nether, just like this one here, the needle goes all over the place because you can't tell your north from your east, from your south, from your west in the Nether, unless you know what you're doing, and so compasses behave all weird. So if a compass is the foundation for a map, then theoretically, any map that I try to create based on a wonky compass, it just shouldn't work, right? So I'm really keen to see what happens if we take this map and have a look at it in the Nether. Aha! Okay, so it is possible for us to create a map in the Nether, but look at my cursor. It's going all over the place because the compass inside the map doesn't know which way I'm facing. But this could make for some very weird experiments, because if I just head off in this direction, doesn't it detect that I'm moving and map where I'm going? Let me, video settings, view bobbing, because that's annoying when you're trying to do the mapping. So it is making new map data. Brain working. All right, I'm going to follow my Nether hub around and we'll map at least that part of it and see what it looks like. But there's no way I'm going to be able to create a full map of the Nether because I'd have to go out there and expose myself to the nastiness that is the ghasts, and I don't want to do that. Well, in my adventures, I've learned a couple of things. First is that the Nether map is pretty useless because I can't see any of the actual terrain out there. This looks to me like it's the map of the ceiling way up there or something like that, so it's really not useful for navigating. The other thing that I've noticed is, you know, Minecraft has this new smooth lighting thing and it applies to all of the blocks. Well, look, it applies to the blocks, but not the map. Notice how the map is all flickery as I pass in and out of lit zones. And thirdly, have a look at this. Look what happens if I walk up to this pigman. Oh, or maybe intersect with something else, but I saw it before when I walked into the space of a pigman. The map goes really bright, and I have no idea what's going on there, but it's definitely weird. For our final mapping experiment, I thought, why not come out here to the Alpha House? I need to create a new map anyway, so why not do it somewhere which we haven't mapped before? So I've got my crafting table here, I've got my compass, and if I surround it in paper, it should create a map, as we've seen many times this episode, and it does. And let's have a look. Down here, we have the Alpha area map. Now, of course, I haven't mapped this terrain yet, so there's a lot of unexplored areas on this map, and I'm going to leave it that way, because what I want to experiment with is the map's zoom level. Now, I did mention previously that this functionality doesn't technically exist in the game, or at least what I should say is I don't believe it's accessible through vanilla gameplay. But this map is called map_2, and its data is stored inside of a file inside of the game's directory called map_2. So in theory, I should be able to open up that map file and modify its zoom level, because that is one of the modifiable attributes of the maps themselves. So let's load up Nbt Explorer and have a look inside. Here we are back out on the file system, and this is what we're interested in seeing. So here we are in my journey directory under my saves directory, and inside of the data directory are these 3 map files. Now, these files contain all of the metadata about the map, and we're interested in map 2, which was the one that we created for the alpha area. So if I load that up in Nbt Explorer, we should be able to have a look at all of the map data within this branch of the tree here. So as you can see, there are some interesting things that we can look at or change here, like the dimension the map belongs to, its height and width. I wonder what that would do if you were to change those. Where it's been centered so that the game knows exactly where to plot all of the world data from. And here, of course, we have scale. Now 3 should be the maximum zoom out as far as I understand it. And if we change this from 3 to 2, it should drop the map back to 1 more level. So if I save that and close it and we head back into the game, let's see what's happened to this map. Well, we're back in Minecraft now, so shall we take a look and see if there's any difference? Oh, there surely is. That map definitely zoomed itself in. Ooh, okay, so why don't we do this again 2 more times and see what the difference is. Back again, and I've just changed the scale down to 1, so let's have another look. Wow, that is so detailed. I love this, and I'm kind of disappointed that this is not the map level that we could have been playing with the first time around. I might just fill out the rest of this map. Now, I have set it down to 1, and I don't know if scale 0 will actually do anything. I'm willing to give it a try. I mean, why not? We're here to experiment, right? Yeah, come on. Let's do it. Okay, I'm excited for this one. Scale level 0, I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Let's have a look. Wow, look at that. You can see all of the path detail. Who knew that gravel was yellow? I think they have a bit of work to do to get these a bit more realistic, but you can see all the detail. You can see the sugarcane farm over there, and you can see the crop farm over there. And the alpha house just looks like stone, but that's because of its roof. Wow, this is amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to put this away in a chest upstairs in the alpha house somewhere, because this is a cheaty map that we made by modifying the game data outside of the game. But that's okay. It's all in the name of experimentation, I think. Well, I hope that you enjoyed yourself today. I certainly did. I love playing with the new features that get added to the game just like that one. Experimentation is where it's at, I say. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, then please help me out by clicking the like button or subscribing to the channel or leaving a comment. All of those interactions really help my channel grow. And there are other ways you can help me grow as well. There's a link to Patreon down below and a link to my Discord community if you want to come and hang out and join that as well. And I want to say an extra special thank you to my amazing patrons who support me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But for now, that's the end. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, this has been bugmancx. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. Bye bye!